The Tennessee special election was supposed to be predictable. A safe Republican seat, a district that voted heavily for Donald Trump, a place where Democrats typically struggle to break past the mid-30s in vote share. But this time, something different happened. Republican Matt Van Epps did win the race, but he didn't win by the margin most analysts expected. Instead of a comfortable landslide, the race tightened to a single-digit result. And what was supposed to be another routine Republican victory turned into one of the most talked about political events of the week. In this video, we're breaking down what happened in Tennessee's 7th congressional district, why the election was much closer than expected, and what this result might signal for national politics heading into the next election cycle. Let's get into it. To understand the significance of this race, we need to look at the district itself. Tennessee's 7th congressional district has long been considered Republican territory. It's a predominantly conservative region with deep GOP roots, strong rural communities, and a voting pattern that has leaned red for decades. In the 2024 presidential election, Donald Trump carried this district by about 22 points. That's not just a win, that's a political wall. So when a special election was scheduled to fill the seat, almost everyone assumed the result was already decided. Political forecasters predicted an easy Republican win. Conservative commentators barely paid attention, and Democrats treated it like a long shot. But the numbers on election night told a very different story. Matt Van Epps, the Republican candidate, won with about 54% of the vote. Meanwhile, Democrat Afton Bain pulled in roughly 45%. That's a 9-point margin. A 9-point margin in a district where Republicans normally win by 20, 30, or even 40 points. And that's exactly why this election has been getting so much national attention. So, how did a deep red district suddenly produce one of the closest results in its recent history? There are a few key factors. Democratic overperformance. Afton Bain ran a strong, energetic campaign that focused on local issues, healthcare, and economic relief. She framed the race around community concerns instead of national party politics. That strategy resonated with independent voters and moderate conservatives who weren't fully satisfied with the current political environment. Democrats also invested more effort than usual in organizing turnout, especially in suburban pockets of the district. The result was a higher-than-expected share of the vote. Republican turnout drop. On the other side, Republican turnout wasn't as strong as usual. Special elections often produce unpredictable results because voter motivation tends to be uneven. A portion of reliable GOP voters simply didn't show up. In a district where Republicans usually count on overwhelming turnout advantages, even a small drop makes a big difference. National political mood. At the national level, the political climate has been intense. Economic concerns, frustration with both parties, and rising dissatisfaction across the political spectrum created an environment where voters were more open to alternative choices. Some conservatives expressed concern about the direction of the National Republican Party. Others used the special election as a low-risk way to signal dissatisfaction. These small shifts add up. A strong Democratic messaging moment, Democrats used the race to test new messaging strategies focused on affordability, middle-class struggles, and local community investments. The theme was simple. We can't keep doing things the same way. It worked better than expected. Now let's talk about the part that's making headlines. Why Republicans are concerned. Republicans typically treat Tennessee's 7th district as a guaranteed win. But a 9-point margin is not a comfortable number for a party that relies on strongholds like this to balance out competitive districts elsewhere. If 9-point races become common in red states, it changes how national elections play out. Political strategists see this race as a possible early warning for the 2026 midterms. It doesn't mean the GOP is in danger of losing Tennessee, but it does raise questions about turnout, messaging, and the party's connection with suburban and moderate voters. A few percentage points slipping in multiple districts could shift national power, especially in the House. Candidate quality matters. Special elections often reveal something important. The quality of the candidate can override party loyalty. While Matt Van Epps still won, the gap suggests Republicans may need stronger grassroots outreach and more unified messaging to maintain their advantage. Democrats, on the other hand, left this election feeling surprisingly optimistic. Proof they can compete in red areas. A 13-point improvement from the last presidential margin is east. A 13-point improvement from the last presidential margin is significant. If Democrats can repeat even half of that swing in other red districts, it could open the door to competitive races where they previously had no chance. Momentum and morale boost. After struggling in multiple red states for years, a close race like this boosts morale, fundraising, and volunteer energy. People love an underdog story, and this is exactly the kind of race that can mobilize supporters. A messaging blueprint. Democrats now have a model for running competitive campaigns in conservative districts. Focus on local issues. Avoid heavy national framing. Talk directly about daily economic challenges. That formula worked here, and they're likely to replicate it. Political analysts from both sides agree on one thing. This election wasn't normal. Here's what they're pointing out. The political map may be more fluid than expected. Voters aren't behaving the way they did 4 or 8 years ago. Economic anxiety is reshaping voter decisions. Inflation, interest rates, and housing affordability are now top voting issues. Safe districts may not stay safe forever. A 20-point swing isn't out of the question in a volatile political climate. Suburban voters might be shifting again. These communities can swing elections, and both parties are paying close attention. The bigger picture. So what does this all add up to? This special election is not about one district in Tennessee. It's about a national trend. Voters are restless. Traditional political loyalties are weakening, and elections that used to be predictable are becoming competitive. Both parties now face the same challenge, adjusting to a political environment where nothing can be taken for granted. For Republicans, this result is a warning. For Democrats, it's a spark of possibility. For everyone watching, it's a reminder that American politics is entering a more unpredictable phase. Whether you see this election as a sign of shifting political winds or just a unique moment shaped by special election turnout, one thing is clear. The Tennessee race has captured national attention for a reason. It's not just about who won. It's about how close the result was and what that closeness might mean for the future. If you want more breakdowns like this, subscribe and stay tuned. There's a lot happening in American politics, and sometimes the biggest stories come from the places no one expects.